Welcome to the Hobby Jogger Podcast, where elite athletes and ham and eggers lace up their stories. We explore the common ground that running creates, from the world-class runner to the hobbyist hitting the pavement, trail, or treadmill. Expect a blend of inspiration, laughter, and the shared joy that makes every step count. Join us on this journey where every run is a story worth sharing. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Hobby Jogger. I am your co-host, Mr. Casey Koza. I am once again joined by my co-host, Mr. Rob Myers. Rob, how are we doing today?
Well, I'm doing well. Excited to get back at it. We missed a week. I don't know if that's ever happened before.
No, it hasn't. We took a brief hiatus there. Yeah, sometimes life gets in the way and things get busy, so it happens. We are back. It is now daylight savings time, so it is pitch black at 4:55, which is great. But Rob, we have a great guest today. We know him. We've met him. Friend of the show, Mr. Abu Gergis. Abu, how are you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Now, I know you are a DC in CSCS. Could you please explain to those listening what those are? Because I have no idea, and I'm sure
of
Rob
course.
doesn't either.
It's all alphabet soup at the end of the day. So DC is Doctorate of Chiropractic. I'm a chiropractor by trade, and CSCS is Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist. So I've been a coach I'm 28, 19, damn, 9 years. Yeah, 9 years now. Time flies.
Time does.
So I've been a coach for 9 years, and I graduated chiropractic school in 22, so 3 years.
Got it. Yeah. And shout out to my chiropractor, Dr. Rook, here in Ohio. The back starting to ting a little bit. So made an appointment. Gonna get in there Monday. He's gonna fix me, shove the hip back into place. And yeah, so I can continue what it is that I do. So yeah, chiropractor. I'm a big fan. Rob, do you go?
I have. Don't need to at the moment. Or maybe I do. Guess I'll find out.
Yeah, massive fan of the chiropractor. I know so many people that are. Is it controversial to say that, Habu? Like, I feel like there's people that say it's not real, and I give my opinion of 2 years ago, I went in there, I could barely feel my feet. Like, I was like, my back hurt so bad. I didn't want to stand up. I went in there, Dr. Rook adjusts me, immediate pain relief. Like, I walked out of the building pain-free, and I just feel like chiropractic maybe gets a bad rap. Am I accurate there?
Yeah, no, 100% does. And it is controversial. It has a long history throughout the medical healthcare world. And there's a lot of schools of thought within the chiropractic field. And some of these thoughts are very kind of out there. Everybody has their own individual viewpoint or like clinical philosophy. Some people get ragged on more than others, but at the end of the day, everybody's working towards the same thing, which is just helping patients as well as they know how to. So I'm what would be considered a rehab chiropractor. I do the adjusting, I do the massage, the manual therapy, but I'm very focused on exercise and rehab and education. I don't have a single patient where I only put my hands on and I send them out the door. Everybody gets homework. Everybody moves around during a visit with me. And like your anecdotal experience was perfect. Like I might have different opinions compared to your clinician, but your doctor got you out of pain and made you feel better. Awesome.
Truthfully, that's all I care about is
exactly
my experience. So, but then I'll read, which I should never read the internet, Rob. We know better than to read the internet. It's a dangerous place out there. It's like, oh, it's like, I don't know what they call it, like pseudoscience. It's like, I don't know. I couldn't feel my feet walking in the door and I walked out of there just fine. Like,
right.
It wasn't in my head. Like the pain was real. I could barely walk. I'm a big fan and big believer in what it is that you do in the chiropractic. I don't get homework from him like you give, but it's probably, he understands what I do. Dr. Rook, what race are you going out to run now? Like, what are you training for? So I think he believes that I do enough myself that, get myself healthy.
Yeah. And that's like the different schools of thought. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm considered like a black sheep in my industry because I don't always adjust all my patients. There are some that live and die by the adjustment and they think that that's all we should do. And it's like multiple schools of thought, and it's like one big chaotic happy family is like how I'd best describe chiropractic. And then the rest of the medical industry just kind of like rags on us shamelessly, which is totally fine because we get patients better, and that's all I care about.
Yeah, that's get me results. I don't care how. Well, I do care how you get them. I shouldn't say that. Don't be just like injecting me with lidocaine to make the pain go away. Let's actually get the pain away. So, yeah, I do care to a degree of how you get it done. But yeah, and I know Rob's gonna get really mad at me for talking about that when that's not the subject I wanted to bring up first, because I want to go back to like how you started out running, and Rob hates when I go out of order like this, right, Rob?
No, no, not at all. I mean, that's a simple edit, right? You just move things around. It's just magic. Doesn't take much time.
Yeah, you're used to it now, but you're also a runner, Abu. You've
Yep.
run quite a bit in your life. How did you begin running? Where did you start? Are you like a high school cross country track kid?
No, I wish I was though. I did. And so I've been running, I always say like I've been running the better half of my life, but I've been an athlete my entire life, ever since I was a kid, between like soccer, basketball, like the regular like rec school stuff. And then when I got into high school, my main sports were lacrosse and wrestling. And then in college, I got really into competitive boxing. And just all of those sports need a high gas tank. So I just always ran and I always enjoyed it. And that was always like the best thing I was. Like I was always the kid that didn't really get tired. I wasn't the fastest, but I never got tired. And then I did one season of JV cross country. And this is where I regret it because I was just a arrogant high schooler. I hated the training. I didn't like my coach, so I quit. But I just kept running. And then boxing, I ran so much, fell in love with it. And then after boxing, when I was time to like, all right, sophomore, junior year of college, let's figure out what we want to do with our career. CTE was not one of those things I wanted. So I just leaned very heavy in running. And like that's when like I started running for sport. But like running has always been a special place in my life. It's always been like my safe space, the place for me to clear my head. We're gonna get pretty deep. So my father passed when I was 11 years old, and like most 11-year-olds couldn't really fathom death, especially one of a close one. And running was always the place I went to clear my head. I still run this route to this day. It's from time to time. The church I go to is an exact 5K from my house. And I remember a lot of nights where I couldn't go to bed for whatever reason. We don't have to get into it. I would run to church. I would sit because it would be locked because it would be like 11 o'clock. And we had these beautiful cherry blossom trees in front of the church entrance. And I would sit there, I'd pray for a little bit, and then I would run back home. And it would be like spontaneous 10Ks I would do. But it was always my safe space to like clear my head, like block out the noise. And I think we can all relate to this to some capacity. And it still is to this day. So running for sport, I think I started when I was 18, 19, but running as an activity since I was like 12, 13 years old.
Nice. That's a great story. And I think there's a lot of people that do that for whatever reason, whatever they need to get out of a run just by themselves, where you're just isolated from everything else. You get a chance to think, you get a quiet place. I know I get asked, like, because Annie, my girlfriend, will ask me, why do you go down to the towpath? It's like, because it's quiet down there. There's not as many people, and I don't have to cross streets. I don't have to think about anything. I can just turn my head off and just whatever I need to think about. If there's problems I need to solve at work, something I can think about it. It's my time. So I certainly understand. It's like meditation for you, right, Abu?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. It's great healing mechanism. Very sorry to hear that your father passed at a young age. That's trauma that's so hard to deal with when something like that happens to you. And I'm glad you found a way to deal with it, a healthy way to deal with it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, made it on the other side, I think, pretty okay. So all part of a plan greater than mine.
Heck yeah. And there's a lot of people that don't. I mean,
Right.
Running for you was something that you had and helped you. You don't ever get over, but you recover, and I guess you get past, like you deal with it. Like you don't get past it either, but you deal with the trauma, and
Right.
it's a good way to deal, because especially as a 12-year-old, that's like a terrible age for that to happen because you're so impressionable. and so many things can go different directions. And yeah, glad that you had that outlet. And do you still live near the church?
I do. I still live in the same house.
Okay. Oh,
So
sweet.
I still run that route at least once a week. And running it during the summer is gorgeous. Like there's a beautiful park with a nice pond. I would run to the church, run to the pond, sit by the pond, run back home. Depends on whatever I'm doing, but I run that route at least once a week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Where do you live?
East Brunswick, New Jersey.
Okay. All right. That makes sense then.
Yeah, a familiar route that you run all the time is just something special. I think every runner has that route that you run it so many times. Like when something moves. Like it's a new bench that was put on the side of the road, right? Or they just cleared out some area of a trail or something's different. Just small things that most people would never recognize. It's your home on the trail, your home on the road, whatever it is. It's just a cool feeling. Like, don't get me wrong, I like exploring new trails, new routes. That's great. But your home route is special.
There's nothing like it. And it's like, it truly is like you build a connection with this weird, convoluted piece of suburban road and you have a connection to it. And every time I run that route, I immediately go back to when I was a little kid and trying to figure out what was going on in my head. And it's just special.
Yeah, that's awesome. Glad you get to still do it, and hopefully it has a lot of good memories there for you, not just the bad ones. And
a lot of good.
That's awesome. So you grew up in East Brunswick, New Jersey. How did you get hooked? Because I know you from Laurel Highlands,
Right.
Where last time I saw you out there, you were at was that the Route 30 aid station?
Yeah, aid station. Was this when Will came in? That's when we ran into each other. Yeah, so that was mile 46. Trail Sisters. Yeah.
Yeah, the Trail Sisters run that, doing a tremendous job. And that is also, I feel, where the maximum carnage of the race happens.
Yeah, always, every year.
Like, Rob, it's a triage unit there. There's people, it's next year if hopefully one of us runs the full one. But yeah, check out that aid station. It is pure carnage. And Abu, you were one of the best I've ever seen at an aid station of getting someone that's on the ropes off the ropes.
In the world of ultra running, like that's what I love. And I think like I've ran every distance that you can think of, and I've pushed them, trained them, coached them, and ultra running. I was hanging out with a couple of friends, and all my friends are runners or ultra runners, and I absolutely love it. We were talking about like different sports, and it was like going to an ultra marathon is like witnessing humanity. Of the runners are battling through whatever adversity they're going to. They go like it's the saying like you go to hell and back, hell and back, hell and back, and then you go to hell again, and then you finish. And witnessing that, and then seeing everybody together helping the volunteers, workers, collective runners, crews helping each other out. It's truly beautiful, and that's like humanity in its rawest form. So it's like aid station carnage is like it gets me fired up. Of like I love racing myself, I love pushing my limits, seeing what I'm made of. But being a part of the carnage and getting somebody off of that ropes, helping them get out of their personal hell in that moment, fires me up to no end.
That's what you remember. You remember those moments, right?
Of
Like the
course.
people that don't run, they're like, oh man, all those miles. Like, isn't that miserable? Like, well, when I think about it, I think about those moments and I think after the race, like how cool it's going to be to sit around, talk to your friends, others that went through, ran the race. It doesn't even have to be the same distance. And you talk about that one climb. You talk about that one person that just bit the dust and you had to help them up and they're covered in blood. And it seems awful, but it's just persevering through that, right? I mean, it's just such a great memory, even if at the time it's really tough,
100%. And it's like I have a cliche that I always like keep to myself, like my own mantras. It's like the struggle is the story. Again, like I love running. It's a part of who I am. Like whenever I'm struggling with something in my life, it's like, all right, this is just part of the story. In the middle of a race when I'm in my hell, it's like, all right, this just is what it is, but it's going to be part of the story from this race. And that's the specialty of it. It's not the splits. It's not how strong you ran, your placement. Like, yeah, those things kind of matter depending on your value system, but it's the struggle and the stories at the end of the day.
Hey folks, if you're loving the stories, tips, and laughs we're dishing out, make sure you don't miss an episode.
Hit that subscribe button so you're the first to know when a new episode drops. And hey, if you've got a second, why not leave us a review? Your feedback helps us improve and keeps this running community growing. Lace up, hit subscribe, and let's get back into the show.
Yeah, I mean that's why I like 50Ks and above. It's because of the struggles. Like it's gonna be hard, and you kind of gotta what do you have? What can you do when it hurts? Like it's a sport like no other, and yeah, just that might be my favorite aid station anywhere, Rob, of any race. Is yeah, it's brutal. There's it's bad. It's awesome. All in the same sentence. Bad and awesome all in the same sentence.
Yeah. Races are made or lost there. And like the first 20 miles of Laurel. But
yeah, I was actually cursing you because I ran the fall classic. Because you were like, oh yeah, the trail's much easier after. Yeah, it really smooths out. It's much, much easier after this. So I go across, I'm still moving really well. And I was like, oh, I can make I can really run here. And nah, it's just as rocky, just as miserable as
it's all relative, man. It's Pennsylvania East Coast Trail. All right. It's like rocky technical hell. Just how much?
Yeah. I think that's payback though, Casey.
Right.
That's payback a little bit for all the descriptions you've given other people.
Yeah. I had
it's an easy race and it's one of the hardest races ever. Oh, it's not technical at all. Nothing but rocks.
Yeah. I had it coming. Yeah. Not gonna lie, I had it coming for sure. Yeah. But I was like, Abu told me this was really runnable and easy. You lied to me.
I didn't say all that.
All downhill.
In my mind, you said that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All downhill, right, Rob?
Never is.
You've competed in a number of races, right, Abu?
Yeah.
What are some races that you have done? Because I didn't look it up beforehand because we do minimal research here at the Hobby Jogger.
I love it raw.
Yeah, we just go raw, uncut, unfiltered. Well, some filtering and some cuts, but
sweet. I did a bunch of halves. Like that was like my entry point was like the 5K and half marathon when I first started running.
Pretty normal, I think.
Yeah, that's very normal, like running, like intro to road running trajectory. And I found a lot of success there. And then I ran my first marathon and I had a lot of things going on. I went into the race injured. I blew up terribly. Still to this day, the most painful race I've ever had was my first ever marathon.
How long ago was this?
At least 5 years.
Okay.
5 or 6 years now. I really banged up my knee. And this is when I just started Cairo school.
Good timing. Good timing.
Great timing. So I got super burnt out from running. I was like, all right, chasing numbers isn't for me. It got me hurt. I don't know if I really love this. So I took a big break, focused on school. And then during my clinical rotations, I would still like run for exercise. And then during my clinical rotations, I went to Long Island and I like impulsively signed up for a 10 miler called the Tesla Hertz. I actually now know the race director, Vinny. And
wait, is his name Vinny?
Yeah.
Of course, there's a race director from Long Island named Vinny. Yeah.
Or
the only
Vin,
guy
whatever.
I know from Long Island's name is Vinny. So that
Probably a couple of them out there.
A lot of them. And I signed up for like they had a daytime and a nighttime 10 miler. I was like, I'm not going to do the daytime. Let's do the nighttime. Let's have some fun. And within the first 400 meters, I trip on like this little tree branch and just eat it. And I was like, oh no. And I remember like I learned how to power hike. That was the first time I power hiked. It's not walking.
Not walking.
I remember I fell so many times, tripped. I just had it was like the peak type 2 fun. And I was like, wow, this is the first time I had fun in a run in a long time, like first marathon. And the funniest moment was there's like a small segment like around like mile 5, I think, with like a couple like tight switchbacks. I've never ran a switchback in my life. And I ran straight into a tree because I was too busy looking down because I fell so many times.
Not many switchbacks in East Brunswick, I imagine.
No. It was my first time like running on a trail that wasn't like a gravel loop.
Yeah.
Of like nice single track. And I was hooked from then on. Like that was my intro into trail. And when I was there, they had a 50 to 150 mile option. So I'm running past like these people that are like slogging it because it's like beginning of night 1. And I was like, what are you running? They're like the 100 miles. Like, you're nuts. And I knew about David Goggins, but I thought those people were like make believe,
Yeah.
And
they're not real.
Since then, it was just like immediately hooked. I signed up for a 50K. and that was the Wawayanda Trail Fest, which Red Point and Dan owns, and that's how I connected everybody. I ran the 50K. That was a lot of fun. I did pretty well despite like butchering my nutrition numbers. I forgot to carry a zero when calculating my sodium and just consumed way too much salt. Um, but I did pretty well. I did third there, so like a nice local race, and then he had his NYC trail mix. And he sent out an email asking for volunteers. I was like, yeah, this was super fun. I'll volunteer. I spent all day there from like race start to packing up the trailers. And I connected with the whole Red Point crew. And Mariana convinced me to sign up for Laurel Highlands. I signed up for it right away. Thankfully, I signed up before I knew what I was getting into.
Which version?
The 70.
Oh, she just talked you right into the 70.
Yeah,
Nice. Good friend. Good friend. Yeah.
the best.
Yeah, deep into the pool right there.
Exactly. And I think that's like the best way to do it, or one of the best ways. Like dive in, but be intelligent. And like at that point, I had seven-ish years of coaching experience. I've been in the training fitness industry. I'm a clinician. Like I understand health. I know how to train. So I was very confident in it. And so I trained and I finished in like 17 low. And I just had a fun time. And I remember I got beat to smithereens at that race.
Yeah. It's like stepping into a boxing ring.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like that's what like hooked me into like ultras and like racing as a whole. Of like boxing was like my first love of like true competitive sports. And the anxiety and the adrenaline you get stepping in the ring before the bell rings, stepping on a starting line of a race is the closest thing to that I've ever felt. And the more experience I got, it's actually like a bigger high. Because in a fight, the opponent is obvious. It's whoever's right in front of you. That person wants to hurt you, you have to hurt them. When hit, don't get hit. But in a race, it's whatever the hell you want it to be. Like there's races I show up and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to party pace this, have a great time. There's races where I'm like, I'm going to push the absolute limit and see what I'm made of.
Yeah.
You make the rules. And like, that's what like makes running like truly special. So since then, like a couple local 50Ks I just did, or not just did, it's July now. I did the Vermont 100K.
Oh yeah, you guys went up there. Yeah, yep.
That was my birthday party.
Nice.
I did pretty well there. I went 11:50.
That's I've run up in Vermont. I don't know what the terrain was like that you ran on, but it was pretty tough. Some of the trails we ran up there, like
Not a lot of trails. There was a lot of like Jeep road.
okay,
Like loose gravel. A couple trails like horse trails, some single track. I want to say like 15, maybe 20 miles worth. Actually, like, closer to like 20 miles worth of trail. Had a really good time there. And now it's like, I don't know what race to do. Or I have a couple options for 2026. And 100, it's definitely on the cards there.
what are you thinking about doing?
Yeah. So from what you messaged me about like tendons, Vermont was supposed to be my first 100 miler. And then I banged up my Achilles early this year. And so I dropped to the 100K just because I didn't have enough time to, after like I rehabbed my Achilles, to train for a 100 miler. So I was like, all right, I'll just drop to the 100K. I know I can do that pretty confidently.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a 100 miler. I got Saddles, Run Rabbit Run, and Eastern States is kind of like the wild card between the three.
Ooh, that's a
That's a tough one.
Eastern States is a brutal one. It has more climbing than like UTMB, I think, right?
I think it has like 20-ish K. I don't think as much as UTMB though.
I'll have to look it up and see what it is. But I know it's a lot. It's not
Yeah.
it's not easy. Yeah, super, super tough race. And it's in June? Is it in June?
No, later.
Is it? So it's hot. It's the hot, humid,
Yeah.
middle of Pennsylvania rainforest.
Right.
Yeah. So, oh man, that'd be awesome. I hope you run Eastern
And
States.
obviously I entered Western States with my 2 whole lottery tickets. So who knows?
It's 2 more than I put in.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's Western States if I get in somehow by God's grace, or one of those 3. I got to figure that out by like end of the month.
Yeah, you have to start entering these things now because everyone wants to do them. I know, like World's End, another PA race.
Yep.
You got to be right on the entry if you want to do it, and then that's your, Laurel Highlands that you volunteer at or work at. I'm not sure, whichever one. Yeah, you got to be on the spot to enter to get in one of the 3 entry days there. So yeah, a lot of these races are tough to get into. You gotta pick and choose.
Saddles would be pretty cool. Rabbit as well.
Yeah, both of them. I think like a big thing with me is like there's so many races to do. I want it to be like one somewhere cool, somewhere that something that like means something to me. Like Vermont was really cool. I don't know how much you guys understand of the history around that race, but it's the whole race started as a fundraiser for Vermont Adaptive Ski and Sport. It's just a nonprofit that does access for like outdoor and extra physical activity for physically and mentally disabled children and adults. That's what the whole race is for. Is just fundraising for them.
That's really cool. And I really like to hear when races do something or anyone does something like that.
Right.
You didn't need to do it, but you did it, and
Mhm.
I appreciate you doing that for sure. And it's always good to hear, and happy to hear that. So especially with you said it's for special needs, right?
Yeah, physically and cognitively disabled children and adult.
Got it. Yeah, I was growing up. I might say the wrong thing here, but I was in the first class. We had a Down syndrome kid with us, and I believe we were the first class where he went through public school rather through the private school. So it was really, I don't want to say interesting. It was really cool, like being a part of that, and like we were like maybe a pilot program for it. But he was just such a cool dude, and he still lives in the same hometown I grew up in, and wish him all the best. And it was just an eye-opening experience to be a part of that as a child growing up. And so I always look at those things a little bit differently, I guess, than someone that didn't experience that growing up so close to someone with special needs. And so I'm glad to hear that about the Vermont race.
Yeah. So that's like my big thing. If I'm gonna run a race, it's gonna mean something to me and be somewhere cool. Because I'm not gonna drag my friends to go somewhere lame.
Yeah, saddles. I know Jeremy Pope and Steve Capes, both former guests of the Hobby Jogger. They've both run saddles. I want to say saddles 50. Does that sound right, Rob?
Yeah. Saddles 50.
Yeah. Jeremy won or took second, maybe. I think. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look at, actually do the research there. But yeah, one of those. He did well, I should say. So yeah, that's a cool race. I like Arizona. I am currently signed up for the Black Canyons 100K. So.
Nice. That's on the list as well. But I need to. I told myself 2026 is the year I do 100.
Nice. Yeah, I look forward to seeing. I hope it's East. I'll come out and crew you for Eastern States because I'd like to see that course.
You might get the call.
Yeah, it's pretty cool out there. I like anytime I get to go out to PA, out into the wilderness of PA. I'm happy. So, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
love the area, and look forward to seeing what you do out there, and even Run Rabbit Run. I'd like to run that 50 mile. I know we've had a couple local guys run it, and that's a cool race out in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
I like how they do that. It's a cool race, the setup where you have the hares and the tortoises, and they send out the tortoises, a few hours, maybe 4 hours?
I think something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. And then off go the fast people. So there's more people going through at the same time, which is a pretty cool concept. I like when races do something like that.
Yeah, it's fun to mix it up a little bit. You mentioned you were doing some crewing. Yeah. It's been a while since you ran a race, but you're doing
Since
some crewing.
July, I've crewed at least one race a month.
What?
I'm like, this is I thought last week, my buddy Vin, he ran the Across Florida 200. That was the first 200 I ever crewed. Crazy experience.
How much sleep did you get?
Actually, a good amount. I will say, from a sleep deprivation standpoint, 200s easier than hundreds, just from sleep. But sacrificing the better half of a week for a race, kind of. But I'm really grateful of like, and that's the other thing that I love about running and like what running's given me is the community around it. I've met some of the best people and like true now, like lifelong friends and brothers and sisters. And all of us are just immersed in the life. And somebody's always running a race and we just take turns crewing each other. So yeah, like the sense of community and like the crew I've built and like developed over the past couple of years, it's truly something special. It trashes my sleep schedule, but I absolutely love it.
All right. Well, let's unpack that 200 miler a little bit. Like, how many days? Like, were you in a van pulling off the side of the road sleeping? I mean, what was
Yeah,
that like?
so for it was their first year doing it, and it was pretty like well-ish run. There was definitely like a lot of like first year stuff going on with it, but it was set up just like regular crewed, uncrewed aid stations. We rented a minivan, and it was 4 people crewing. Me, 2 of his buddies, and his fiance. And we kind of just like ran on shifts pretty much of past mile 50. So for the last 150 miles, you were allowed a pacer. One of us was always pacing, so it was always 3 people in the van at one time. One person's sleeping, another one's just like keeping an eye if he's close or not. And he comes back. We all organically wake up, crew him, and then away we go. A lot slower paced. He was the first person to like run a true 200 out of everybody in our friend group. So a lot of lessons learned of like the importance of sleep, the importance of consistency, of fast aid stations, not as important compared to like a 100K or a 100 miler, but consistency and like proactive problem solving, which we definitely did good. But like the sleep element is just like a huge wild card and like the consistency. But he did well. He finished in like 64 hours.
64. Yeah, it's wild.
What mile did he start hallucinating? That's what I want to know.
So he's one of the best like well-rounded runners, and especially like in the ultras, out of my friend group. And
What's his name?
Vincent Kennedy. He would be great on this podcast. He's a great time.
Vinny from Long Island?
No, different Vinny. He's from South Jersey, so
I
still
knew there was more
Vinny.
than one of them.
Yeah,
Shocked.
Right. Listen, it's the tri-state area. There's always a Vinny somewhere, in any story, and he struggles with sleep deprivation. That's just like something that we know that he struggles with. So we were always like staying atop on sleep. So we were sleeping a ton at aid stations. That's just like his weakness. So we were sleeping a decent bit, but he was hallucinating, like seeing some like figures and like faces and trees. But whenever it got to like that point where he's getting visual disturbances, we just slept right away.
Yeah, when you're seeing cactuses going across Florida, it's probably not a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember you someone posted something from that. Trying to think
Probably
about
him or his fiance.
Okay. Yeah, I saw something. But yeah, it's such a cool. Yeah, there's just so many different races that I never heard of that. Have you heard of the 200 across Florida? I didn't even know Florida was 200 miles across.
It was their first year doing it.
Okay.
What was it? Warrior races? Like they do a bunch of like the adventure races everywhere.
That's an adventure. That's
for sure.
What month was it?
Last week.
Last week. Okay. I missed that. Yeah, so it wasn't, well, it could still be pretty hot down in Florida. It's still humid.
It was really cold in the morning, really cold at night. Classic Florida weather during the day, like 70s, high 60s. So it was like a lot of like undulating temperature, which like threw a different element into the race.
Yeah, I remember you were part of Mariana's crew for Western States as well.
Yeah. That was a fun time. Yeah, that's where we first met, actually.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
when we first met.
And yeah, because you had to break it up into 2 crews out there, and you had the first aid station, right?
We had the second, but we accidentally drove to the first one and sprinted through the valleys to what is it? Dusty. Yeah, that was a fun crew adventure.
Yeah, because I was waiting for you there to give you something. I can't remember what it was. And yeah.
It was her bucket hat.
Yeah,
that was like the big
hat
thing all race that she cared about, and we never got to the bucket hat until afterwards.
Yeah, we got to the bucket hat the next day. Perfect timing. Yeah, it is fun to crew. Like, I did it this past summer, and yeah, it was fun. I had a good time, and it's just cool to be part of it. You're part of it. Rob, you were there. Yeah, the video will eventually come out that we filmed. Yeah.
Slowly working on it. It'll come out.
Yeah, but no, I had a good time doing it, trying to get them off the ropes and keeping them out there moving, and yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's just and it's completely unique, I guess, other than to like NASCAR, of being a part of the sport, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's like it's a team effort of like same thing with like efficient aid stations of like if you have a crew that can problem solve fast, read, and have good chemistry with the runner, things go well. If things aren't going well, things get forgotten, or just spending too much time at an aid station, things don't go so well. And I really like the team element around like crewing. And two, it's fun of like races are special for the runner, and like as a crewing, I get to be a part of that specialty. So it's nice.
Plus, you get a sneak peek at the race.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
it.
hey, would I want to run this? Like, let me cruise somebody first and just see how they look at, like, mile 30 and then mile 60 and yeah, he's a better runner than I am. I think I'll tap out. That's too much for me right now.
Yeah, it's true. You can either make you really want to do the race or really not want to do the race.
Yep.
You see the line of chairs up at the aid station, and they're all filled, and it's tough to want to go out and do that sometimes after that, I guess. So, but now, Abu, one thing I wanted to talk to you about. We're going to shift gears here a little bit. When it comes to training, you're a coach. Uh, I I think I'm a little bit ahead on the next big thing in running. I know I messaged you a little bit about it. Rob, this is going to come as a complete shock to you, but I've been doing a little bit of research on this.
Don't believe you.
I know. I told you you'd be shocked, but I can't lie. I got it from the Strength Running podcast, Jason Fitzgerald. He did an episode on isometric and plyometric. We'll call the isometrics holds because it's not a stretch and it's not a lift, and then plyometrics. But I wanted to add a little bit of this in here because I do think we're early, Rob, to this. What is going to become a trend? Abu, are we early?
There's been enough literature now that heavy isometrics and eccentrics are now a trend.
Damn.
Maybe not for the hobby jogger, though. Like, it hasn't hit our world yet.
In the world, how do we want to go about this? Of just tendon health as a whole, or isometrics and eccentrics specifically?
Are eccentrics essentially plyometrics?
No, they're different.
Okay. Well, let's define what an isometric hold. We call it
Okay.
a hold. A
Yeah,
hold
so
is
isometric means just holding one position, nothing is moving.
okay.
Eccentric is a tissue is lengthening under load.
Okay.
Okay. A plyometric is a tissue going through its full stretch and shortening cycle. There's a bunch of different tiers within the plyometric, but we're going to keep it kind of simple and not get like too crazy esoteric with it. Those are like the three like main things, and there's other like sub tiers in each and every one of them. But tendons as a whole, and this is like probably I love tendons. It's my favorite thing to treat. And I think it's like one of those like neglected things in like people's training and also like in a lot of people's rehab for people that are dealing with tendons. Are a couple of these things that we're probably going to talk about.
Especially the heel. I feel like a lot of people have issues in the heel.
Correct. So like an Achilles tendinopathy, which is a pissed off Achilles tendon, is one of the most common injuries for runners to deal with at any point. Varying degrees and grades. But I'm sure all of us at some point after a long run or any type of run the next day or later that day is like, my heel's a little weird.
Right now.
Oh, great. We get to use you as a case. Very, very common. And why I think it feels like isometrics and eccentrics for tendon health of like isometric calf raises, eccentric calf raise, and now plyometrics, which is really exciting, is becoming a trend, is tendon health is so important. And in running, the calf complex, so everywhere, all the muscles from your ankle to your knee, they go anywhere from 6 to 12 times your body weight in forces when you walk, run, or jog. I think jogging is like 6 times your body weight. Sprinting is like 12. Running is like a weird 6 to 8.
So that's like pounds that we're putting on to that tendon, the load that we're asking that tendon to withstand, correct?
Correct. In the most myopic way possible to explain that. Yeah. So every time your foot hits the ground, gravity, once your foot leaves the ground, wants to yank you back down. You accelerate, you hit the ground. You have to deal with those forces and produce enough force to keep pushing you forward. And you do that tens of thousands of times.
Yeah.
And it's like these small, like rapid impulses. And like, that's what a plyometric to some degree is. Okay. We'll keep it simple. But in running, our legs deal with a lot of forces. We've all subjectively felt it. We have to, and people get injured when they either do too much too soon, after doing too little too long. Okay. And their body is not prepared to handle the forces that's being imposed on them. Okay.
That makes sense. That's now that I'm thinking about it, that's about when I get injured, right, Rob?
Yeah. I mean, I've heard it in, kickboxing for years, right? That's why the Thai guys go out and they kick the trees. Trying to build that up, a lot of little micro fractures, and then it just gets tougher and tougher and tougher.
Correct. That's training. They're training their bones. And you kind of incur the same thing with running, strength training, and all of this. And this is where like having a well-rounded program is very important, because if your running program has proper progressions and deloads, your strength training is consistently putting you under enough load to adapt your muscles, tendons, and bones as well, because stress fractures very common in runners. We're going to keep that away because that's like a whole nother subject I can talk an hour about. But specifically to tendons, that's like the main thing. And like if you look at like elite runners, like the Kipchoge's of the world, the Walmsleys of the world, and one of the things that like got me really obsessed with like running science was I saw a video of Walmsley. I forgot which Western States finish, but when he was coming into the track, he looked like he just started. Just so bouncy and fluid. And that is like, there's a lot of things that makes him, like, in my opinion, the GOAT. But that athlete being able to preserve that elasticity and stiffness that deep into a race shines. Whereas your back of packers, as the race goes on, their legs get heavier, they're spending more time on the ground, they start to get that shuffle. They've lost that stiffness and elasticity. They have to spend more time on the ground because they need to produce more force rather than rapidly.
So, I mean, other than the obvious of genes, what do we do to help us sustain elasticity throughout a race? What are like a couple basics? Like, I know I started isometrics this past week. I did a one-legged wall sit and I forgot how hard it is. It is very difficult to do that.
Yeah. So this is where the isometrics, eccentrics, and plyometrics come into play. Excuse me. Sorry. Isometrics and eccentrics are the lowest hanging fruit. When it comes to tendons, and we're going to put this in the context of a healthy, otherwise uninjured athlete, somebody that just wants to get their running better. Because once you throw pain and like disorganized tendons, there's a whole nother rabbit hole you can go down. For the person that just wants to make their running better and feel better, this is what it's about. There's two acronyms to remember, or really one for the uninjured athlete. Tendons love tension. That's their only job, is to stay tight, attach the muscle to the bone. When tendons lose their tension, they become disorganized and flaccid. Okay, it's like a rubber band. You have a squishy rubber band, you have to pull it really far to snap it forward. But if you have a taut rubber band, you only have to stretch it a little bit and it has a lot of energy in it. Once you let go, it just flies away. That's how our tendons are meant to behave.
That makes sense.
We want to preserve and promote those qualities. That's where isometrics come from, because they're very easy to load heavy. And you do that in different joint positions. So like the easiest way to start is with the ankle. There's two ranges of motions we'll just highlight. Plantar flexion, which is gas pedal, toes down. Dorsiflexion, which is toes to nose.
Okay, that makes sense because you're going to stand on your toe. What do you call it? The calf raise?
Yep.
Okay. And then what do you do for the other way?
You just let it sink.
Okay.
Okay, so you have your whole, like, this is my foot.
Yeah.
It goes like this, right?
Got it. So you'll stand on a stair
Mm-hmm.
and let it.
This
go
is the
the other
stretched
way.
position, toes to nose. And then you press and you stay in that lengthened position because that's max tension.
Got it.
And then you do that in all planes. The easiest way to introduce load is through the shortened position. So for somebody that's new to heavy loading, I'll start them at the loaded position. But the main overarching thing is tendons love tension. We have to load it, and we have to load it heavy. And this is something I see like on Instagram that grinds my gears, of like strength training for runners. And it's just like a bunch of lightweight heel float exercises. Great. That's good for your balance, but you're not introducing any meaningful load. Again, we're going to use the simple 8 times body weight. I'm not the heaviest guy in the world. I'm 100. When I'm racing, like, I like to sit around like 165. That's still like 1,500-ish pounds
Yeah.
every step I take. Doing a calf raise squat with a 10-pound kettlebell is not going to move the needle.
So I want to work on loading the tendon,
Correct.
and I need to do it at. So what do I need to be careful of when loading? Like I'm just starting out with isometrics.
Awesome. So we'll go through, like, if you're coming to me and this is perfect for our case. If your tendon is sensitive, my job is to, one, get rid of the pain. But if you're not in pain, how can I load this comfortably? And again, most people get injured by doing too much too soon after doing too little for too long. Is what's the easiest way I can introduce load without getting flared up? For the otherwise healthy individual, it's pretty easy. Just get on the calf raise machine, go to absolute failure. And by absolute failure, I mean no matter how hard you try, the weight is not moving.
Okay.
Okay, just pump out calf raises. Okay. Now, when you understand what high intensity lifting feels like, we can introduce the isometric. And with the isometric, you can load very, very heavy compared to doing like a regular calf raise. That's like the best value of the isometric.
Got it. So do I just go to the gym, load up the barbell like a squat and toe raise?
You can do that. Yep, you can do heel raises. If your gym has a calf raise machine, that's the easiest way. There's a bunch of other like calf raise setups, but whatever the easiest setup where balance isn't like the main limiter that you can load is what I would go with. So if you have a standing calf raise machine or a seated calf raise machine, go ahead, do a full set to failure. If you get to like 20 reps and then you fail, great. Add 25s or something and you'll feel it. And with the isometrics, I found like 15 to 30 seconds, the sweet spot of like those last 5 seconds, you are fighting for your life to not let that weight fall and keep that weight in place.
Dude, I did a set of wall sits. I was fighting for my life. The thing I read, I think Grok told me, like, set it up for me. It's like, oh, just do 30 to 45, 15 seconds in, Rob. I was dying. And I work out regularly. I could squat pretty good for my body weight. And I was dying. Like, I was like, what? My legs were shaking afterwards. And I was like, holy shit. I could see how someone could, I could see how this could greatly improve. Like you said, the tension, I didn't know what it was. I just was like, oh, wow, it felt like I did something. So, all right, cool. So I'm going to put the calf raises and the calf, we'll call them calf sinks, Rob.
Well, you just need to get to the point where you can take the chair out of the office and just sit on the wall.
Yeah.
You don't need a chair anymore.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get there for a while, man. I got some work to do.
Yeah.
It's a goal.
So that's the isometric. The eccentric, it still follows the same principle. They're just different strategies to load the tendon and introduce high degrees of tension and load. The eccentric, very easy. You load up your bar. I like doing like a single leg eccentric. You load up the bar, you go 2 legs up, take 1 leg off, and slowly 5 seconds on the way down. Your calves will be screaming very, very quickly. But again, tendons love tension. The whole game around tendon health is how much load can I introduce to promote stiffness and elasticity. The isometrics and eccentrics, great way to establish tension and load, promote some stiffness. The elasticity comes from the plyometric. And this is where I have very strong opinions. And when we were going back and forth, like this has been my main thing I've been like continuing my education on the past 3 or so months. Just with where like my caseload is at when like they're all individual rehab process and like guinea pigging myself. A lot of people mess up their plyometrics.
It seems like this is something you need to be careful of. From my research, which Rob knows it's not very good, because you can get injured for overdoing plyometrics very easily. Like it is very easy when, and I actually didn't do it this week because I just didn't feel that great. And I was like, I don't want to start out this week doing it. But it seems like you really need to ease into the plyometrics. As simple as they might seem, but it seems like there's a lot of warnings to that. So I'll let you explain why that is, I think.
It's literally just like running. The beauty of running is it's free. You just have to go outside. But the trap is it's free, so you can very easily overdo it and you're banged up. Same thing with plyometrics. So plyometrics, we're only going to look at like 2 types of plyometrics that of like the rapid bouncing. Okay, there's other tiers like I would use to like introduce to somebody. But that rapid bouncing is running. That is like max tension, max elasticity, high volume. High intensity, high volume, that's like a recipe for load management disaster of doing too much too soon. So dosage matters.
Yeah, I think this information is going to be new for a lot of runners because, I mean,
am I going too fast? Like I can like
no, not at all.
Okay.
I mean, it's fantastic. I know a lot of runners that before they go out for a run, they're feeling stiff, they're feeling a little bit of pain, and they think just stretching stretching out their arch, stretching out their heel a little bit. Like that's what they need to do every single time, and they're going to notice significant change. But it sounds like they're not. They can continue to do this, and it's just a little bit of weakness there.
Right. And like that feeling of tightness, I'm not going to blindly diagnose people, but that feeling of tightness, like, oh, I need to stretch this, is actually like your body signaling, I need stimulation, especially like if it's coming from a tendon. It's either it's swelling that needs to get drained, or it needs to get introduced tension. Okay. Which now the factor comes into, how can I introduce load without incurring pain? So to the plyometric, dosage matters. If you're somebody that's never done a plyometric, never jumped in there or skipped in their life, skipping is a plyometric. I like to do 1 to 2 times a week for 5 to 10 minutes. 10 minutes is pushing it.
Got it. So very little makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
And because I know, like Rob, we know exactly what people are going to do when they hear this. Like it improves my running. So I'm going to put in a 45-minute session.
Do not do that unless you are a professional high jumper.
Yeah. Like, because I just know how people like, oh, if Abu said to do 10 minutes. So if I do 45 minutes, I'm going to be really fast.
I mean, it's good business. Like I would end up with like a couple new clients, but it's very unethical. Do not do that. So less is more. Literally just like running. Less is more. Okay. You can run yourself into the ground and be tough, or week over week, you can stack volume and feel fresh and actually gain fitness. It's the same exact thing. I've restructured my personal strength and conditioning. So I lift 4 times a week. And each lift I do anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes of plyometric activities of varying levels. I feel a difference when I run now. Like I recorded myself the other day, just like curious. My running mechanics have changed. I didn't even try to like alter the way I run. Just from the adaptations I've developed of 5 minutes a day. Do not do that to start. 5 to 10 minutes, 2 times a week.
Yeah, that's very good. Because I know and like Rob said, like this is going to be a lot of new information for people. Because and obviously Jason Fitzgerald's very tuned in, much like you are, to what's going on. But that was the first time I had heard about it. So I was like, I think it's going to be. And then I started reading about the injuries, shin splints, etc., from just so much force and plyometrics going through, like box jumps to what's it called? You jump, you get on the box, you fall off the box, and then you jump.
Like those are like what's called ping tier. And like when I said like there's varying degrees of plyometrics, those are ping tier that's low ground contact time. So you're not spending a lot of time on the floor. High forces. That's like as high stimulating and high load as you can possibly get. That's the upper echelon that I really don't think most people need, to be honest with you, especially if they're brand new. All they need is understanding that stretch shortening cycle. And this is where like I think like the most practical stuff is the most simple and like I have a post that I need, like a story written I need to make, and I'll probably make it after this, is the most commonly prescribed and the most commonly bastardized exercise for runners is the pogo, where you're just bouncing on 2 legs.
Yeah, that was one of the suggested. Was the pogo.
Right. It's very common because it's like very close to running and it's pretty easy to do. Just bounce on your ankles.
Yeah, but you're just flexing the ankle, right?
Yep.
Knees stiff or straight, and just
the easiest way to do it is just bounce on the balls of your feet. Just get the rhythm down. Learn what it's like to feel bouncy and pop, 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 feeling that stretch shortening cycle. Okay. And then what people are going to do, and this is where I say it gets bastardized, is after they learn that initial like nice rhythmic bouncing, they stay on their tippy toes and they never fully stretch their Achilles. Again, tendons love tension. We need to maximally stretch and shorten. That's how tendons respond. They're rubber bands. Okay.
I guess if you think of it as similarly to like a bicep curl, you want to get the full range.
Bingo.
That's what we're trying with the hopping. We want the full range, the full flexion of, which I guess controls the tendon, but that's what we're looking for. Okay, that makes sense.
Exactly. Yes. So after people, like when your coach, your PT, Cairo is like, oh, you're dealing with an ankle injury, do some pogos, and you get like that flaccid, soft, rhythmic bouncing. That's step 1. Okay, and that's where most people start and end their plyometric journey. And like you're leaving a lot of gains on the table. What comes next is just like running, and like I like to use uphill running as an example, but we'll get there in a second. It has to start becoming aggressive and violent. Okay, so back to the rhythm. What you'll hear with people when they start like pogos or plyometrics is very soft. Okay, but they have the rhythm down. Then what you want to start doing, and this is how you increase the load, is you want to start attacking the floor. So I'm trying to smack the floor. And what you'll hear is like a rhythmic pop, pop, pop. That's like the second I hit that floor, I'm already producing force. My Achilles is stretched and it just rebounds. And by the time I get back to the ground, it's stretched again and ready to go. Pop, 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 pop. There's a genetic component to it of like the Jim Walmsley, Kipchoge's of the world. They're highly elastic and they'll just do it forever. There's also a trainable quality to it. It's going to feel really awkward for people that are new to it, but if you practice it, you will get better. And if you dose it properly, you will also get better and you'll feel a difference. And a little goes a very long way.
So jumping rope, yay or nay?
Yes, jumping rope, another plyometric. Kind of the
Just a
same
pogo.
thing. It's a great way. It's exactly a pogo, and you have the external constraint of the rope. Of if I lose my rhythm, I stop. I hit the rope. That's I love that as an entry point as well. Or I'll just have people bounce on like the balls of their feet just to feel the rhythm, give them a jump rope. And then after they get the feel of that, then I'll like just literally tell them, start attacking the floor, see what happens. And they'll start to feel like they're stuck to the ground, but you practice it a little bit, 5 to 10 minutes, 2 times a week. Then you have like this nice, fun bouncing to it. And then you can start getting crazy with like deep knee bend, deep Achilles bend, jumping off of boxes, single leg, side to side, da 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 da.
Yeah, I mean, and that makes sense. Like, because Jim does warm up with the jump rope before runs. I don't think I said who it was in the story that did it, but yeah, he came out to run with us in Ohio and gets out of my car and he's jumping rope. I was like, dude, what are you doing? We don't warm up here. Like, yeah, I'm gonna have a beer, and he's like, no, I warm up, and yeah, he's jumped that. I mean, obviously he's a professional athlete, so yeah,
That's like the perfect example of a low tier, light tier plyometric.
Yeah,
which is high amplitude, low force. And it's just a good way to prime the system.
ordering a jump rope now, Rob.
Yep, I'm digging mine out of the garage. I know I have one in there somewhere. So it's in a box. It's coming out tomorrow.
I need one of those ones they had in school with the old plastic ones. Yeah. Yeah, that's great knowledge, Abu. Thank you for that. That was one of the reasons I wanted to have you on. Other than you're a super cool dude and great story. I guess we probably could have just done a full hour on isometrics, eccentrics, and plyometrics, Rob.
Yeah, I like tendons. I love them. They're so much fun.
And now that I've heard you explain it, it makes perfect sense to me, and it's why I added it in. It's added strength training last year. Speed work I've added in, and now going to add in this. If I could just get the diet part right, Rob.
It's the hardest thing. Like that's the biggest reason why I took the last half of this year as an off season is to like get my diet in check.
Now, Casey, you've already got it. I mean, cheeseburgers, beer, check. What else is there?
It's a professional athlete right there.
I basically like a professional athlete at all times. Yeah. Yeah. I have a jumbo sized bucket of chicken nuggets in the freezer right now. So it's my snack. Yeah. But Abu, thank you we'll probably have to do another episode on this, I imagine, because I think we could probably, we probably will.
Yeah, I'm down for a 2-parter. Then we can get like deep into the weeds of like the injured tendon or whatever you guys want. I love this stuff, so I'll chew your ear off all day.
I appreciate you sharing a little starter for our audience here on the isometrics. I learned today, Rob, what isometric and eccentric the difference is. So
It's always good to learn.
Oh yeah. If you're not learning, you're not
appreciate it.
growing. Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Where can our listeners find you?
Best way is through Instagram, Abu _Gurgis, GUERGES. For the people that are local to the tri-state area, I work at Evo Health and Performance in Freehold, New Jersey.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Hobby Job. We hope you've enjoyed our conversation today. And if you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support keeps us moving forward. Until next time, keep those feet moving and enjoy the miles.